The relationships of three very strong-willed people living in New Macross City have reached a critical impasse. What was once just a passing thought has now turned into a bitter rivalry. Now, Lisa sits alone and dejected in the officers' mess hall.
What could have made me say a thing like that?
So there you are. I thought I might find you sitting in here. Why so glum, chum? Come on, tell me what Rick has done now, Lisa.
Please.
You're not in any mood to talk, huh? Well, honey, sometimes it clears the air. It helps when you get things out in the open.
What makes you think I'm upset?
Just a woman's intuition. I thought you might like to try my prescription for pain. Hot tea can do wonders for open wounds. Come on, I can see you're hurting.
Oh, is it really all that noticeable?
Only if someone happens to be glancing in your general direction. Otherwise, no. Or maybe to someone who's been there.
Oh...
But please don't worry about it. I understand perfectly. Just make sure you don't let too much time go by. Before telling him...
What am I supposed to be telling him?
How you feel about him, silly?
Oh, Rick, if only I could.
Whew, it sure was a rough patrol this time. I'm glad that's over.
Welcome back, Captain. Don't worry about a thing, sir. We'll take care of everything.
Thanks a lot, Chief. It's been a rugged night, I'm afraid.
Excuse me, sir. Captain Hayes said she wanted to speak to you as soon as possible.
Did she say why?
No, sir.
Well, it probably has to do with last night's patrol activities. Thanks a lot, Chief. Lisa's attention to business stuff is beginning to get on my nerves.
Just make sure you don't let too much time go by. Before telling him, I mean.
Boy, is she ever hung up on him. Uh-oh, look who's coming.
Oh, hello, Rick.
Here's my complete report, Captain, with my compliments. Will that be all?
Rick,
Captain, I said, is that all?
Rick, what do you mean?
I don't want to take up too much of your time.
What's the matter with you?
What's the matter with me? I just came in from an all-night patrol, and the first thing I hear is to report to you. Don't you think I understand military procedure? Well,
just give me a chance to explain.
And another thing, Captain Hayes, my personal life is just that, personal, do you understand? Whoever I choose to speak with does not concern you.
I understand.
Like Vanessa here, for example. Am I right or not?
I really don't think I'm...
Hey, why don't we grab a bite to eat?
Please, Captain Hunter. As you can see, I'm still on duty.
So what? You can still play hooky, can't you?
If you'll both excuse me, I've had just about enough of this.
I don't think that was a very nice thing to do.
And why not?
It's obvious, sir. Captain Hayes just happens to be in love with you. That's why not.
You mean Lisa is in love? And with me? You gotta be kidding. Ha! The only thing she's in love with is her job.
And to think I was trying to apologize to him. Ha! I'd rather apologize to his entrati.
I just don't understand. What's the problem with her? Oh, it was just a lover's quarrel, that's all.
It seems so obvious that Captain Hayes is in love with Captain Hunter, but she doesn't have the courage to tell him about it.
That is really ridiculous. Why doesn't he just be a man about it and tell her that he loves her too, huh?
Has it ever occurred to you that perhaps he doesn't share the same feelings on the subject that Captain Hayes does?
If he's got a heart at all, he's got to realize how she feels about him.
Maybe not.
Well, if I felt that way about a man, I'd just come right out and tell him about my feelings. I know, but you do that to almost every man you meet. Hey, you know, the only reason we're laughing is because it isn't happening to us.
The only other man Lisa ever loved was killed in action.
This makes me so mad
Oh, it's so sad.
Nightfall signals the end of duty for most of the crew of the SDF-1, but Captain Hayes is unable to sleep as Claudia's advice fills her mind.
Just make sure you don't let too much time go by before telling him.
It's always so easy for someone else to say, oh.
As the rain starts to fall, Lisa runs aimlessly. No longer able to distinguish between the rain and her tears, she eventually looks up and finds herself standing before the quarters occupied by Rick Hunter.
I'm like crazy? What am I doing here? Maybe I could make some kind of a peace offering. Getting soaking wet, and he couldn't care less.
And another thing, Captain Hayes. My personal life is just that. Personal, do you understand? Whoever I choose to speak with does not concern you.
Planning to drink that tea in the rain? Why don't you go up and knock?
Why? He doesn't want to see me.
Not if you've made up his mind for him. Listen, if you're not ready to talk to him right now, why don't you just come over to my place? We'll dry off and talk. Well, while you're thinking about it,
Claudia,
see you soon.
But... Oh dear, now what? Rick, what could I say to you that would make any difference at all? Nothing, I guess.
I've made some nice hot tea. That ought to hit the spot. Here we go.
Claudia, at the risk of sounding like a pushy guest, you wouldn't happen to have anything around a bit stronger, would you?
Huh?
You have any wine around the house?
Wine? Mm-hmm. You got it.
Well, get it.
Well, okay. Burgundy all right?
Of course.
And so, two lonely women sit down to share a few moments of sympathetic conversation. And as they talk, Lisa begins to see a way she might be able to resolve her problems with Rick.
So how long does it take for the hurting to stop?
You sound like you're giving up.
When he came in this morning with his report, I really wanted to apologize, but then before I could, he started chewing me out.
Well, what did he say?
Only that his personal life was his own business and that I should stay out of it.
Lisa, what did you expect him to say when he doesn't know how much you really care for him?
Claudia, I've tried to be honest about it, but I don't think it would really matter to him.
You don't know that.
Well, it's not a bad guess.
Maybe not, but it sure is a negative one.
Well, just chalk it up to the wine.
The situation isn't hopeless, Lisa. At least the man you love is still alive. Oh, I don't want to cause you any more pain, because I know you've had that experience too, but when Roy passed away, this became a very necessary crutch for me. Now nothing seems to be important anymore.
There is a difference, though.
Why?
You and Roy began hitting it off right from the very start.
If that's what you think, honey, forget it. We were at each other's throats all the time. We nearly drove each other crazy.
Oh?
Do you want to laugh? I'll tell you about him.
Let me tell you something. Right now, I'll take all the laughs I can get.
Why? Why did I have to go and shoot off my big mouth like that? I mean, the least I could have done was to listen to what she had to say.
The first time I met Roy Fokker was back during the war. I was only a green recruit then, and they stationed me at the base where he was training. It was located somewhere in the boondocks of Wyoming, and I suppose that the men stationed there were starving for the sight of a girl. Any girl. And then we arrived, a whole platoon of us, and all trying to look terribly military and efficient. I don't think we were very successful.
Hey, Roy, get a load of the new recruits we got here. Things are finally picking up around this place.
At your service, lovely ladies. I'm Lieutenant Roy Fokker. Very nice.
Somehow I knew he was going to single me out, and sure enough he did. I thought at the time he was the most conceited person I'd ever seen in my life. A week later, there was an enemy raid on the base, the first I had ever experienced. Roy and two others had just taken off on routine morning maneuvers and were flying over the Grand Teton Range when he spotted 5 enemy fighters coming in low, right in front of them.
What have we got here? It looks like 5 bogeys coming up dead ahead, men.
What do we do now, Roy? Go after them?
Uh-huh. Just follow me. We'll have some fun.
What?
Here we go.
He calls this fun?
Okay, Claudia. This last bandit is for you.
And that was the start of so many things. Talk about a complex personality. At first, I didn't want anything to do with him, and I avoided him as much as possible. I even told him so point blank, but it didn't work. Roy Fokker was nothing if not persistent, let me tell you. So I finally agreed to a date with him. Date doesn't describe it. I suppose you could say that any kind of a date with a guy like Roy was a real education. Oh, yes. If my first impression of him was unfavorable, my second was even worse. I had been standing outside the place where I was billeted when I heard his car in the distance. He was 40 minutes late. You can imagine my shock and dismay when Roy drove up with 3 girls from the base in the car with him.
Hi. Gee, Claudia, sorry to be late, but I was thinking that if 2 were company, 5 would be a real blast. Besides, there's lots of room. Am I right, ladies?
Yeah.
Well, what are you waiting for? Come on, hop in.
No, thank you.
Hey,
Excuse me.
wait a minute, Claudia.
Oh, let her go.
Yeah, come on, Fokker, let's go.
Let's all go to a party, Roy.
Oh, please, Roy.
Come on, she probably wouldn't be
Oh, my
any fun.
hand.
Oh, come on.
In any case, my attitude certainly didn't seem to bother Fokker at all. In fact, he was constantly trying to find ways to get on my good side. Huh?
Well,
I wish you wouldn't come up here while I'm on duty.
come on, Claudia. I'm only trying to apologize to you.
Don't bother, Lieutenant.
Radar shows 5 enemy
Okay,
planes
be
approaching
stubborn
from
if you-
east.
They're attacking!
I'll be seeing you later. Gotta go.
And with that, he dropped the gift in my hand and ran to his ship. Can you imagine? I didn't know what to do, so I put it in what had become my Roy Fokker drawer.
That's right. They have now made contact. Oh, Claudia, I'll need some help over here.
You know, it's funny, but I would never have suspected Roy Fokker of being a playboy.
But don't you see? I'm trying to tell you that our first impressions can be all wrong. We never really talked to each other or said how we actually felt about each other until it was just too late. And then he was gone.
You mean after he went into combat?
Yes, that's right. And later, when we were stationed apart, he didn't write me a letter for over a whole year.
Why?
Don't know. But that's exactly the point that I'm trying to make, Lisa, by telling you all of this. Do you get me? How could he ever have been expected to know how I felt when I didn't have the nerve to say so?
But it finally worked out for both of you, didn't it?
Sure, Lisa, but not by magic. It took some very large adjustments on my part. You might even say I behaved,
Oh?
foolishly.
I'm not sure I understand. What could you mean by that?
Well, for example, one day after I discovered we were both stationed aboard the STF-1, I made a complete fool of myself in front of him. After a few not too discreet inquiries, I finally managed to locate him in one of the hangars where they build experimental Robotech aircraft. Oh, he was looking at one of them in the way I wished he would look at me. And as I approached him, I actually felt I was intruding. Hello there, Roy.
Hello there yourself. Well, hi, Claudia. I can't believe it's you.
Well, don't believe it, Roy. It's only because I have some things to return to you.
I don't get this. Why are you returning this stuff now? Well, if you say so. Nobody can win them all. Except for this honey right here. It's the prototype of the new Veritech fighter that our engineers have just developed. Its firepower and speed are greater than any other Robotech fighter in existence, and I'll be the very first pilot to test her out. Just thinking about flying this baby makes my head spin, Claudia.
Goodbye, Roy.
Huh? Well, come on, Claudia, don't leave yet.
I had gone there expecting him to be real excited about seeing me. But instead, I ended up walking away with my feelings hurt. Get the point?
Mm-hmm.
Before I walked away that day, I should have told him exactly why I had gone there. Not that it would have taken his mind off that Veritech.
Huh?
He had a sort of morbid fixation that he would be killed in a fighter plane, and this one had never even been tested. I didn't realize that all of his talk that morning had been sheer bravado. I must have sensed that something was wrong, though, because I was drawn back to the hangar the next day almost against my will. As I passed an open door, I heard laughter and singing. I don't know what I expected, but what I saw was more than I bargained for. Roy was dancing and carrying on with 3 girls in the empty hangar in a way that suggested that they knew him much better than I did. Can you possibly imagine how I felt when I saw that?
How you felt? Oh, yes. It's painful to remember, but I know exactly how you felt.
I remember that it was raining hard the night after the first test flight, very much like it is this evening. Lisa!
Oh, I'm listening.
It was shortly after you and I had become roommates. I think you had moved in just a week or two before, remember? You had said that you were exhausted and wanted to go to bed early that night, which was fine with me because I was working early shifts in the control tower that week. I think I had only been asleep for about an hour when the telephone started ringing. I guess I was pretty groggy because I had the impression the phone had been ringing for a long time before it woke me up. You must have been completely exhausted because you didn't even stir as I checked the time. And I must confess that I wasn't particularly anxious to get out of that warm bed myself. I just couldn't imagine who would be calling at that hour. Lieutenant Grant speaking.
Hello, Claudia. Did I wake you up? I hope you weren't sleeping.
Roy, is that...
I've got to see you, Claudia. Please, you can't say no.
Do you have any idea of the time?
It's midnight, so what?
Are you crazy?
No, listen, is it okay if I come up?
What? You can't be serious.
I have never been more serious in my life. Okay, why don't you come out here then?
Come out where, Roy?
The phone booth right in front of your apartment.
You're here?
Yes, I'm here. Now, it won't take long. Will you come?
Wait there. Would I come? Our wild horses couldn't have stopped me. All of a sudden, that heavy rain outside became a light spring shower. All that mattered to me was that he was out there.
Hi. Sorry to ask you out in this raging rainstorm, but I just had to see you, Claudia.
Oh, look at you. You're soaking wet.
Oh, don't worry about it. Okay? I shouldn't have come.
Boy, is there something wrong?
Something wrong? Yeah, you might say so. I saw you standing there outside the hangar the other day. Well, it bothered me a lot. It probably didn't mean anything to you, but there's a reason why I act like that sometimes, and I just wanted to explain it to you. See, I've never told anyone my deepest feelings, Claudia, but I want to share them with you. So listen, please. Every pilot has to live with fear, especially because he knows the consequences of the smallest mistake. And every time a test pilot goes up, he wonders if it'll be the last time. But we do what we have to and force ourselves to go up anyway. It can be more dangerous than combat, because you have more time to think about what you're doing. And lately, I've become convinced that the next time will be it for me. It'll be the last time.
Why do you do it then? If that's the way you feel about it, to continue is insane. Why don't you just walk away from it? Why keep risking your life expecting to die?
Because I know that the fear is temporary and sooner or later it'll pass, like it always has. So many times before. Besides, who else is going to do it? I mean, there's a desperate need for experienced pilots. You know that. The war crippled our military capabilities, and those of us who survived that have a responsibility to future generations. Believe me, I can't walk away. Which finally brings me to the reason I came here tonight, Claudia. It's true that in the past I've liked having a lot of girls around, but I can't talk to any of them. Am I being clear? Don't you see? I need someone to talk to about these things, just like tonight, Claudia, and the only person I can think of now is you.
It's okay, I'm here.
Please, forgive me. I mean, those girls meant nothing to me, Claudia. Nothing. Nothing.
Strange, Lisa, but neither one of us ever mentioned that night again.
At least you were there to help him.
I don't think that was a very nice thing to do.
Why not?
It's very simple. Captain Hayes just happens to be in love with you. That's why not.
Lisa is in love with me. Of course. That explains the picture she gave me and everything. Lisa! I hope I'm not too late. Huh? She's not here. Oh no, I've got to find her. Where is she?
Desperately searching for Lisa, Rick calls her duty station at headquarters from a nearby phone booth.
You say she left over 2 hours ago? Thank you very much, sir. Where the heck is she?
But even that night, I couldn't tell him.
I would never have thought Roy Fokker capable of such sensitivity.
It was quite a revelation for me at that time, although I am sure deep down inside I knew it all along. But look at all the happiness I lost with him, just because I wasn't able to return any of the confidence he had given to me. My biggest mistake was not saying what was in my heart. I just hope that you won't let the same thing happen to you, Lisa. Huh? Now who do you suppose that could be? Commander Grant. Yes, of course, Captain. She's right here. Well, of course you can come over. We'll be waiting for you.
You're kidding.
He called from across the street.
You're serious?
You bet I am. Now I want to have a drink with this fella, okay? So will you get out of here?
What'll I say?
What will you say? If you don't know that, then we've wasted this whole evening.
Anybody home in there?
Prince Charming's here. Coming! Go on now and take this with you. It's a great little icebreaker.
Hey, come on, it's pouring out here.
Don't keep him waiting, Lisa.
Huh?
Good night. I understand perfectly. Just don't let too much time go by before telling him.
Before telling him what?
How you feel about him, silly?
You aren't going to be too cold, are you?
Oh, no. Are you?
No, I was just thinking it might be a little more comfortable for you if we took a cab.
No, that's all right. I kind of enjoy walking.
Oh, I do too.
I walk a lot at night.
That's great. It's terrific exercise, you know.
Rick, I'd like to talk with you seriously about some very important things. I'm not sure if this is a good time.
Well, I guess now's as good a time as any. My place is right down here, but I don't have anything to offer you.
Don't worry, Rick. I got just the thing right here.
Hey, you're a lifesaver, Lisa.
And so Rick Hunter and Lisa Hayes set out on a new road towards compassion and understanding. In our next episode, a Zentradi rebellion forms the dramatic backdrop as Rick tries to sort out his feelings for Minmei and Lisa. Be sure to be watching for Private Time, the next thrilling chapter in the amazing adventures of Robotech.